Have you heard that skipping breakfast will slow your metabolism? Or that you need to eat 6 meals a day in order to burn fat? Well, in today's video, we are busting through the lies that you have been told about fasting and meal frequency. We are going to separate fact from fiction so that you can finally understand what the science has to say. So let's go ahead and dive in. But before we do, I'm Dr. Nick Zyrowski, and as always, it's a pleasure hanging out with you guys in these videos. And stick around to the end because I'm going to share with you the #1 lie about fasting that is keeping you from getting healthy. Before we do, I want to point out I run a VIP community online called Health Club. Health Club includes monthly meal plans. It shows you guides to how to properly fast. Also, I drop new videos in there that you won't find anywhere else that are going to teach you how to transform your health using the clinical tips that I use every day in order to get people healthy. So if you want to join a VIP community of natural health enthusiasts and transform your health and do it naturally, go ahead and click on the link in the description below and join me in my community called Health Club today. I look forward to seeing you there. So let's look at myth #1, and that is going to be skipping breakfast will make you fat. Well, if we look at this from a pure research standpoint, well, there was a study back in 2014, and what they found is that there was two groups. They had a group that was eating breakfast and a group that was skipping breakfast, and there was 283 participants that were overweight or obese. Over the 16-week period, they basically found there was no difference between the two different weight groups, okay? And whether they ate breakfast or didn't, it didn't really make a difference in weight loss. Now, here's the thing, is that I have skipped breakfast for many years, and it's actually served me quite well because I used to eat really poor quality foods for breakfast, as most people do. High sugar, high carbs, and the reality is that will actually cause cravings all day, causing you to overeat, but it'll also cause you to crave more carbs and more sugar. So there's one benefit there, is just skipping that unhealthy breakfast altogether that most people are eating. But the other benefit is that you're putting yourself in a fasted state for a longer period of time, which opens the opportunity for you to start burning fat for energy, lower your blood sugar, become more insulin sensitive, and so on and so forth. So skipping breakfast actually has a greater potential for you to actually start losing weight versus gain weight. Now, another big myth is that you need to eat 6 small meals a day in order to stoke up that furnace in your metabolism. Well, here's the truth. Eating more doesn't stoke a metabolic furnace. At the end of the day, the total calories is what will actually matter. So whether you eat 2,000 calories in 2 meals or you eat 2,000 calories in 6 meals, it's still 2,000 calories. So therefore, if you are somebody who is not going to be eating all those meals, there is a greater chance that you are going to lower your insulin levels, lower your blood sugar throughout the day, which would also put you into a better place physiologically in order to start burning fat for energy and also not start storing fat, because when insulin's high and blood sugar's high, this is when you're in fat storage mode, okay? So when we look at 6 small meals a day versus 2 meals, once again, it comes down to calories, right? Calories that you're consuming throughout the entire day. But also, if we have more periods of fasting between each meal, there's a greater likelihood that we'll actually not store fat and burn fat. Now, frequent meals reduce hunger is another myth about fasting. This one sounds logical, right? Eat more often and you're going to stay more satisfied. That's the thought process. But the research shows actually quite the opposite. And the reason for this is because when you're fasting, you're going to find that you start to balance hormones like ghrelin. This is going to be the hormone that is going to tell you when you're hungry, right? And you have a better chance of balancing the hormone leptin. This is going to be the hormone that tells you when you're full. How many people are eating today and they're eating and they can't hear the signals that tell them they're full? So you have a better chance of solving leptin resistance and also insulin resistance. And then as a result of this, you have fewer cravings, which would lead to eating less, which then ultimately would lead to some weight loss potentially. So therefore, this is going to be another myth. Now let's look at this one. Fasting will slow your metabolism. Now, in any type of fasting that you're doing, and I did a whole video on this one time, what you're gonna find is that fasting will actually improve upon your metabolism because it's improving upon the metabolic hormones that make up your metabolism, right? Insulin, ghrelin, leptin, right? All these things are being improved upon. And so therefore, when you're doing intermittent fasting, when you're doing a 24-hour, 48-hour, 3-day fast, as long as you're going through the proper cycles of fasting and then eating proper calories that your body needs, and you're not starving yourself beyond that, you're going to be just fine, and it'll actually improve upon the quality of the function of your metabolism. Now, another myth that I hear quite often is that I'm worried about fasting because it's going to burn my muscle, like I'm going to lose muscle mass. Well, here's another big myth, because when you are fasting, your body actually goes into a muscle preservation mode. And the reason for this is because you know what? Our ancestors would go through feast and famine cycles all the time. When they would feast because, let's say, they harvested the crop or they harvested the animal that they went out and killed. The reality is that they would eat good, but then there may not be food for 2 days. And so you couldn't have the human body just withering away with no muscle mass after that. The truth is that when you're fasting, you'll preserve lean muscle mass, which is fantastic, especially for longevity, and you'll burn fat. So you're not going to burn muscle. It's a myth. Now, there is a scenario where you may start burning some muscle, but that is going to be when you're doing 4-day fast, 5-day fast, 7-day fast, where you'll start to get a little bit of muscle breakdown because it's, a very extended period of time. However, in any of your short-term fasting, it's not even a concern. Now, here's another big myth. If you're doing fasting, it's going to cause you to overeat later. Well, the truth is that when you're fasting, most people actually tend to undereat. And the reason for this, think of it. If you eat 3 meals a day and you go down to 2 meals a day, there's a good chance that you're actually going to restrict some calories. And this is why so many people love fasting for its weight loss benefits. And even if you're somebody who is going down to even 1 meal a day, well, there's a high likelihood that you're going to eat fewer calories. So therefore, it's quite the opposite. You're not going to have binging issues. You're typically going to actually have a better relationship with food. And the reason for this is because now you're hearing these signals to tell you to stop eating and when to eat. And therefore, as a result of that, you don't binge quite as much. So it really is something that is, once again, untrue. And I really wouldn't focus on that a whole lot. Now, another big myth is that you are going to have an issue with your blood sugar. Your blood sugar is going to become unstable. Now, the only reason that you would have a big issue with instability of your blood sugar when fasting is if you're someone who's suffering from insulin resistance, okay? Now, you don't have to be a type 2 diabetic to have insulin resistance issue. You can be somebody who actually looks fairly healthy and still have a level of insulin resistance. And so when you're fasting, your blood sugar shouldn't be an issue because you should be able to start stabilizing your blood sugar as you start to fast without an issue, okay? Now, when you first start fasting, you might notice that your blood sugar has a little bit of highs and lows during this time. However, as you continue to fast and your body starts to adapt to fasting and you become more insulin sensitive, it becomes less and less of an issue. Blood sugar instability is a sign of insulin resistance, hands down. Now, another big myth is that women shouldn't fast. Well, this also isn't true. Women can fast just fine. Here's what you want to do. You want to take into consideration fasting around your cycle. So therefore, maybe the half a week leading up to your cycle and just after, you don't fast. And then other than that, you can tend to fast just fine. And the other thing that you want to take into consideration is that if it's not treating you well, listen to your body. Maybe you can't do an 18-hour fast a day. Maybe you can't do a 16-hour fast, but you certainly could do a 12-hour fast, a 14-hour fast in terms of intermittent fasting on a daily basis. So there is something out there for everyone. Listen to your body, and women certainly can fast. Now, will fasting cause nutrient deficiencies? This is one I hear all the time. How are you going to get enough nutrients? How are you going to get enough food? Fact is you will get enough food and you will get enough nutrients. And here's the truth about that, is that fasting has nothing to do with how many nutrients you get. It's your diet that has to do with how many nutrients you get. And this is why whenever I talk about doing fasting, I always say, make sure you're eating a very good, healthy, micronutrient-rich diet. And this is especially for the people who are doing things like 1 meal a day. You're only getting 1 meal throughout the entire day. Make sure it's good. Don't eat a bunch of junk food. And that's really what it comes down to. And whether you're fasting or not, you should make sure that you're eating a good, whole food, healthy diet, rich in vegetables, proteins, fats, and also micronutrient dense fruits. So this is how you're going to eat a well-rounded, balanced diet. And whether you're fasting or not, it shouldn't have any impact on your nutrient level. Now, another thing that I hear too is it's just another fad diet. Fasting is another fad diet. Well, fasting isn't a diet at all. Fasting doesn't choose what kind of foods that you're eating. Fasting isn't telling you to calorie restrict. Fasting is a lifestyle, right? Fasting is a tool that you're using in order to become healthier. So therefore, it's not a fad diet at all. It's just something that you can adapt in order to help improve upon the quality of your health and your physiology so that you feel better, you have more energy, your brain works better throughout the day, so on and so forth. So not a fad diet at all. And I think that, especially for people like me, I've been fasting for over 10 years and I will continue to fast. It helps me a lot and I really enjoy it. And I enjoy it because it takes a lot of the frustration out of trying to figure out what you're going to eat all the time. And also it just streamlines being healthy as an individual, right? Like not trying to worry about how many calories you're counting all the time and what you're going to eat for all your meals throughout the day. It just streamlines good quality health. And I like that about it. Now, I've been told, and this is going to be the number one fasting myth that I've been told so many times, and I've been told this by my patients and people who just don't really know better until I explain this to them. Fasting is unhealthy, is what I'm told. There's no proof that it's going to help you become healthier. Now, there are dozens and dozens of research studies out there that show that when you're fasting, you start to improve upon most of your metabolic markers. It'll lower your blood pressure. It'll lower your cholesterol. It will help you reverse fatty liver. It will reverse insulin resistance. It protects your heart. It has benefits of protecting your brain. There are so many benefits of fasting. The idea to say that it's unhealthy is absolutely ridiculous. And so it always surprises me when people are told that, especially when they're told that by their doctors, okay? So fasting is completely healthy. It's completely research proven. It has tons of benefits. As always, listen to your body and then figure out what type of fasting is best for you. There's so many options, from 16 and 8 intermittent fasting to 1 meal a day to doing a 24-hour fast, a 48-hour fast, a 3, a 4-day fast, whatever's right for you, right? I teach all of the different methods on my channel, and I encourage you to go look them up and research them so that you can fully understand this topic. But these are the myths that your doctor has never told you about, and in fact, the myths that are keeping you from being a healthier version of you. I'm Dr. Zyrowski. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, watch this one next.